try this. G'day everyone, Rach here from Bookpiles. Welcome to my January 2021 reading wrap up. I don't know what my eyes are doing. Okay, I'm going to give you an overview of what I was reading and what I thought of what I was reading. I'm probably never going to be an in-depth book reviewer. I'm not that eloquent. I watch some of these reviewers and I think, how on earth do you know those words? I'm not bright enough. I just read for enjoyment. Okay, I have got my very messy book journal open for January to refer to. I had 4.5 books that I was due to read in January and I read 4. The half that I missed out was on my ebook. Yeah, well, Kindle, it's an ebook, and it was called The Outlaw's Mail Order Bride, and I didn't get to it. I'm not really sure why I didn't get to it, but that means I am behind on my yearly goal, which was to read 1 ebook a month. I'm not busting a gut about that. Anyway, so my plans changed partway through January because I discovered around about the 18th of January I discovered the historical romance readathon, which was a week-long readathon, and I discovered it on a Monday and it started the previous Thursday, so I did Monday to Monday, so I had to make a little change in my reading to fit the books into this the prompts. There were 16 prompts, I believe. Yeah. So anyway, I'll go down my list that I have it in here and then I'll talk about the changes. So the first book I read is One Summer in Italy by Sue Moorcroft, and I really enjoyed this book. I think I gave it 4 stars. I haven't actually recorded on this page the stars. I'm not going to keep flicking back to try and find that. It's gone back to the library now and I can't refer to it, so I actually don't remember his and her names. But it's the story of a young lady, well, I would say she's probably not young, she's probably middle-aged, who cares for her Italian father who he moved to England from Italy when he was quite young, and so she's grown up with in a mixed culture family, if you like. So she knows the language and all the customs and things like that, but she grew up in England. He passes away. Mum's passed away a long time ago. He passes away and she decides to fulfill his wish for her to go to Italy, pass on some messages to his family and have a look at where he was born. So she takes a job in a local hotel, and it's her story there of meeting her family, working in this hotel, finding a love interest, helping a young girl, like an 18 or 19-year-old girl who's run away from home, supporting her, and it's how it all sort of ties together, twists together, and it actually ended up being a really enjoyable read. I'm not sure at what point I worked out the twist, and it's not a real big bombshell. I mean, it's just a chick lit book, so it's not going to be earth-shattering. But yeah, there is something where you go, oh, okay, why didn't I see that? I saw it earlier than it was revealed, thankfully. So yeah, but anyway, I'm not going to do it justice. It was a nice easy read, a nice quaint Italian town that makes you want to go and live in Italy and experience all that it has to offer. I enjoyed it. I looked up more of her books to buy, but I haven't actually bought any. I'll probably just look to get them from the library. The second book I got from the library is Mary Ann Sate by Alice Jolly. Hopefully. Oh yeah, I can't do that bit yet. It'll be inserted. I DNF'd this book. If you watched the my January TBR video, I showed you the book and I showed you how it was set out. It was quite a thick book, and it was kind of written in sort of poem verse like. Yeah, I should have taken a photo of the inside as well. I read about 4 chapters and I just couldn't get my head around the way it was written. It was a fictional diary and it was a historical fiction, so it was I don't know, 1800s, something like that, set in Wales. My leg is going to sleep. And it sounded like it would be really interesting, but the introduction to the book, the author writes that she's written it as the diary was found, bearing in mind that it's all fictional. So she didn't change the old language, and obviously not the way that it was written. And in the end, it just did my head in. I couldn't get into the story because I was trying to read it A, in Old English, and B, in this stupid little verses, trying to make sense of it all. And in the end, I'm like, there's better books to read. So I got 4 chapters in and was like, yep, no, and DNF'd it, and it has gone back to the library. So we're not starting off well. Second book read is a DNF. Anyway, more second book not read. The next book I read, this is then where I discovered the readathon. That must have taken me, I don't know, it took me a while to get into things. I've clicked into gear with reading now. Excuse me. I'm not restarting. If I can cut that out, I will. Anyway, I discovered the readathon at this point, and I will hold up if you can see. Have I not covered that one very well? So you can see how many are crossed off. It just gives you a bit of an idea, because I didn't make a separate video about this readathon. So I needed at least a couple of historical fictions to fit into that readathon. So one I had on my list was The Duke and I, which is the first Bridgerton book, Julia Quinn's Bridgertons. This is Daphne and Simon's story. So this one, for the readathon, it gave me 2 prompts. Now, just to back up with this, 2 years ago when I was doing Booktube, I actually read, and it's the blue one at the top of that pile here, An Offer from a Gentleman, which is the 3rd book in the series, and I loved that story, so I was really eager to read the rest. So this one did not wow me anywhere near as much as book 3 did. I certainly enjoyed it, and it won't stop me reading the whole series, because I like series and things like that. So but I didn't come away with the same wow factor that book 3 gave me. It'll be interesting when I eventually reread book 3, because I will, if it gives me the same vibe. So I don't even need to talk about this. Everybody is either watching it, I haven't watched it, or read the books. I'm just late to the party, really. Yeah, there's not much more I can say to that. It didn't blow me away, but it got me 2 prompts on the historical readathon. Then I picked out a second historical readathon book from my second-hand books that I had just bought, and that was A Lady by Midnight by Tessa Dare. This is the first Tessa Dare I've read, and this one crossed off 7 prompts. So I ended up ticking off 9 of the 16 prompts for that readathon, and that was just over a week. I could have probably got some more, but I was late to finding it, and it's just a fun thing. So I wasn't going to be worried if I didn't cross them all off. So this I don't know if this is a standalone or a series. I have a feeling it's a, yeah, Spindle Cove series, okay, which is why I couldn't tick off standalone. It's got a step back. So this is, who is it? Colonel Thorne and Kate Taylor. I enjoyed this book. The difference between this book and the Julia Cove, is there a difference? Well, they're both bodice rippers. So I'll just rearrange on the floor. What I really liked about this book was the behind the scenes, is that the right way of putting it, storyline, not the bodice ripper romance that goes on in the forefront between your characters. It was the story behind that. She is a music teacher in Spindle Cove, which is apparently an area for the gentry's young ladies to come who have either caused issue or need some boosting or something like that. And she, as far as she is aware, has always been an orphan. Now some people bowl in that claim otherwise, and that's all I'm going to say. So the whole story around that was really interesting, and I was more eager for that than the romance at the front between Kate and Captain Thorne. The smut in this is definitely more explicit than Julia Quinn. I was quite surprised. I mean, I wasn't shocked, but she wasn't as explicit. And then I read this and I'm like, whoa, okay. So, yeah, that was interesting. It's been a while since I had read a bodice ripper. So, in fact, I don't even think the one that I'm struggling to read on the Kindle, I don't think is that smutty. So, yeah, that was like, oh, okay. Hadn't realised that. I enjoyed it. As I say, I enjoyed the backstory. So if all her work is like that, I'm interested to read more. I believe it's the only one I've got. I don't think I've got any more Tessa Dares at this point in time. And I'm not bothered about reading the whole series, I'll be honest. If I happen to stumble across one in a second-hand bookshop, I'll grab it, but I'm not going to go out and buy a whole lot more. So, but it was a good read. It crossed off 7 prompts on the readathon, which gave me the 9 out of 16, and I was happy with that. And then the last book I read was Addressed to Greta, which is the first book I brought this year. Now, this book, where do I start? First of all, I did not realise when I brought this that this is actually a New Zealand book. The author was originally from South Africa and she moved to New Zealand in the late 1980s. When I buy books, I will read what the book is about. This was on the inside flap rather than on the back. Well, there is some stuff on the back, but I don't read about the author. So I had no idea. There was nothing, even in the shop, you know, Kiwi Read or anything, there was nothing. So I read the first sentence and she killed a pakeko. And I'm like, why is there a pakeko in this book? A pakeko is a bird. So then I obviously read about the author and then realised that actually this was a New Zealand book. And I'll be honest, my heart sank a little bit. I don't know why, but I'm not a big fan of New Zealand books. I guess because for me books are escapism, and I want to go somewhere where I can't go. I want to go to Italy or America or England or anything like that. I don't want to be going to Auckland, especially as a South Islander. I don't want to be going to Auckland. So I'm like, oh, okay, right, I've brought it. I've paid 35 New Zealand dollars for it. I'm going to read it. The next problem I had with the book, and I don't know, in New Zealand we have a thing called tall poppy syndrome, whereas when someone gets up there by their talent or whatever, you know, they get to the top of their profession, their sport, their art, we like to knock them down. We're a great country like that. And I don't know whether I fell into this trap, but I felt like she was trying too hard. It was billed as a, an irresistible heroine and a funny, compelling read. The humour. I felt in the first, I don't know, let's say half of the book, there was more humour than needed in each sentence. If she wanted to do a humorous sentence, she did a little bit, but then she added more, and I felt it wasn't necessary. I was getting to the point where I'm like, oh, for God's sake. The heroine, our heroine Greta, annoyed me greatly at the beginning. I just wanted to slap around the girls and go, come on, love. She just was so negative about herself the whole time, and that's, I guess, part of the story, but it was annoying me. So it was not boding well, but somewhere it clicked for me, and I was then really interested in keeping going and finishing and seeing it to the end. And I remember getting to page 114 because I thought, why haven't I got my journal thing to here and I can write this page number down? And I thought, I know what the twist in this story is. Spoiler, I was wrong. So that was good. But it settled down, and how do I put it? I want to say it settled down in its skin, but that's probably not the right way of putting it. The whole sort of gangly beginning settled, and it then became a really good read. So Greta has had a friendship with a guy called Walter who passes away, and he leaves her some letters and some money, and he sends her off to 3 different places that she doesn't know about basically until she's going. And they're all places that will help her either understand herself better, understand him, or broaden her horizons, sort of thing. And it ends up being a really nice tale. And as I say, I ended up being wrong about what I thought on page 112, which was a good thing. And in the end, I enjoyed it. I don't remember how many stars I gave it because I don't write them down on this page. I need to do that. But I'm pleased I got it, and I also won't get rid of it. Like I've been looking at my books about what I can unhaul here, and I think this one I won't unhaul. I actually did enjoy it. I just had to get over the fact that it was a Kiwi book. So I think that is everything I read in January. I was on track with my Goodreads. I haven't written in the new book I've started, but that's nothing to do with this video. Alright, I am going to go make sure that everything is okay, insert relevant pictures. If you know either how to, in a simple way, get the picture here without losing me, could you tell me or direct me to a video? Otherwise I'll be cutting to the pictures, but we'll get there. That's technology. Right, catch you again shortly. Bye for now.